What is going on, everybody? I am quickly taking a step back to the NFC South. Totally forgot to do the Carolina Panthers, just did the Bears. Let's kick this off really quickly. Let's give you guys some content right now, and then let's get back to the NFC North because that is a very fun division to talk about, very fun division to watch. So, starting off, like this, the Panthers, I really just giving them a quick overview. Their offensive line is my biggest issue. I think Teddy Bridgewater was a good bridge, no pun intended, quarterback um, to just like kind of stabilize the organization, give them something to work with, at least have something and not be a complete joke. I think he's just a really shitty version of Jimmy Garoppolo, who I don't really think is that great of a quarterback. I think he's just a solid game manager, and solid game managers are kind of what you need in the NFL. But I don't call that a great quarterback. I call that a winner, not really a good quarterback. So weird way to phrase that, but regardless, their defensive line doing perfectly fine. They have a pretty solid D line. Linebacking core, it's pretty hurting ever since Luke Kuechly retired. It's hurting. Shaq Thompson's still there, pretty damn solid, but apart from that, I just not really good. Secondary, Dante Jackson is a very fun player to watch, super athletic. And then they just got Jeremy Chin as well. So pretty damn solid. Again, I love the draft this last year. Yetur Gross Matos, Derek Brown, Jeremy Chin, great picks. Great picks. So, I mean, Jeremy Chin in the third was a great pick in my opinion. If he was a second round pick, I'd be like, ugh. But he has so much potential. That is where you take a person with potential. That great drafting by Carolina, but they're drafting for the future, not right now. So I can see what's going on in their head. They need to develop the offensive line, though. So starting off, Las Vegas is going to Carolina. Carolina's going to win this first game. I think Teddy Bridgewater is going to have a little chip on his shoulder, and I think Christian McCaffrey is going to be able to slice and dice through this defense. Christian McCaffrey is going to be the X factor, guys. DJ Moore is a great player as well, but Christian McCaffrey is the dude. I would never say put Teddy Bridgewater as a quarterback to watch as like somebody to get stats or like fantasy, unless you guys are like in a division where you have 16 people and then you can have 32 quarterbacks. That's the only time I could recommend Teddy Bridgewater. I really think he's like a bottom quarterback for this year, especially statistically. Next, Carolina at Tampa Bay. Look at Tampa Bay video for in more in depth, but Tampa Bay is just super powered offense against a middling defense, and then a very underrated defense against a pretty mediocre offense. So no real need to explain further. Carolina is going to beat the Chargers. I really do not have faith in the Chargers. This is a game that can go either way, though. Yeah, go either way. Sunday afternoon. Um, Herbert is just not the answer. I think Teddy Bridgewater is a good enough quarterback to game manage, and he's better than Tyrod Taylor as well as Justin Herbert. And I think the defensive line for Carolina is far better than Chargers' offensive line. So I think it's going to be put even more pressure. And the Chargers' defense is damn good, but when you have a more of a game manager quarterback, it's a lot easier just to do dink and dunk with Teddy and just continue to inch the ball forward and then have Christian McCaffrey just break off some runs for touchdowns. I think they have a lot more potential this game. Arizona versus Carolina. I'm a huge fan of Arizona. I think that they're going to win this game. Arizona is just a juggernaut this year. People don't talk about them, but they are so good. Man, I wish that they could get Jamal Adams. I mean, I don't think they were on the list of the teams that he would go to, but that would be a team that he should go to. I can imagine him with Buda Baker in that backfield. Oh my God, this team's a Super Bowl contender. Easy, if he's there. Easy. So, Arizona is a great team. Great team. Highly underrated. I'm excited to do the video just discussing my thoughts on them and then re-going over stuff. Next, Carolina's going to Atlanta. I had to give Atlanta the edge here. Full healthiness. Atlanta's offensive line is going to get eaten up a bit by Carolina's defensive line. But Atlanta has a much better defense than Carolina does. And their offense is definitely comparable. I think if they want to go to the game manager style, it's going to be much more effective than Carolina's game manager style. I think that Atlanta has a much better secondary than Carolina does. So, we'll see. Chicago at Carolina just did this. Go check out the Chicago video. Chicago's a juggernaut. There's no real need to explain this. Extremely damn good defensive line against a mediocre, if not shit, offensive line. Next, Carolina's going to arrested New Orleans. There's no need to explain that, guys. Yeah. Atlanta going to Carolina Thursday night. Atlanta's gonna ball out. I think that like Matt Ryan, he was an MVP. There's moments where MVPs can have those MVP moments, similar to like a Nick Foles, like with Super Bowl MVP. He can have that greatness again. I think Matt Ryan's gonna want to try to have some greatness against his own division, so he can't be like the last in the division. Carolina at Kansas City, I'm just not even gonna talk about that. Tampa Bay at Carolina. Tampa Bay is just such a more superior team, really great team, and there's really no need to explain that either. Detroit at Carolina. I've hyped up Detroit a lot, but I'm gonna give this one to Carolina. I feel like this is a game that Carolina can have at home. Detroit is leaving their dome, going to Carolina. I think that Carolina can steal this game. They can surprise. This is going to be an upset, big upset. I have faith in Detroit, even though their record's 2-5. I have faith in Detroit. Next, Carolina is going to Minnesota. Minnesota's going to win this one. They're just going to win this one, guys. Minnesota is just vastly superior. I got shit on my video for saying Minnesota is not as good as the Bears, and that's ridiculous. The Minnesota Vikings just point out to one thing that's better about Minnesota than the Bears. Okay, maybe a number one wide receiver. I still think Allen Robinson is better than Adam Thielen. That's kind of a hot take by mine, but at the same time, it's not really. He made Trubisky look adequate for a long time. That's kind of hard to do. You need a great wide receiver for that. Fully rested Carolina facing Denver. Denver's going to win this one. I was thinking about giving it to Carolina here, but I think Denver is a dark horse candidate for the Super Bowl. And we just got to see how Drew Lock does, honestly. Drew Lock is the biggest wild card, and that's a scary factor. That's a scary factor for a team. It's not, how are the running backs going to be this year? Because I think the running backs are going to be pretty good. It's the quarterback. And if Drew Lock is anything what we saw of him from the last weeks, then I think he could lead this team for a very, very, very good run. Great wide receiver core, great tight end, solid offensive line, defensive line definitely great, linebacking core definitely adequate, secondary, even though lacking, still pretty damn good. So, cheers to Denver, man. Cheers to Denver. Next, Carolina going to Green Bay. There's no real reason for this one. Aaron Rodgers, that dude. You're going to Lambeau Field. Still stuck in the Bears video, Soldier Field. But going to Lambeau, you're not gonna beat Aaron Rodgers at Lambeau. Especially if it's like a toss-up game, which this one isn't. If Green Bay was going to Carolina, I'd give this one to Green Bay 10 out of 10 times. Carolina going to Washington. I gave Washington this one. Washington's D-line is definitely extremely superior to Carolina's offensive line. And, whoa, pause. I gave this one to Green Bay. That was a misclick. Also, Green Bay's pass rush is great. Washington, their pass rush is also freaking solid, but that's the only damn good thing about the team. And I think that they're going to be lucky. They're going to upset here, and they're going to bottle up Christian McCaffrey. Then New Orleans going to Carolina. New Orleans is just so stacked on paper, and they're not in the dome, I know. But they're still stacked on paper. They're still stacked on paper. And that doesn't take away from Drew Brees. He's still a top 15 quarterback outside the dome. It's just he's a top 3 quarterback inside a dome. That's why I made such a heavy emphasis on that. So let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you guys think. 4-12 record here. Definitely ain't bad. I'm pretty sure they're definitely not the bottom of the league. Right now we have the 1-2 seed going to New York and Washington. So, again, had an upset game here with Detroit. Had another upset there, but wow, guys, almost slipped up there again. So yeah, it's 3-13. Kansas City won that game. Do not scream at me in the comments. I fixed it, guys. I fixed it. Gotta make sure that we got everything right. We did. It's 3-13. They're tying for second. And in their division, they're 0-6. They are going to be below New York. They're at the number 2 seed right now. So we'll see what happens. I think they're at the number 3, but they could end up being the number 2 seed. We'll see how Jacksonville does. So awesome, guys. Glad I caught that, but let me know what you guys think. I'll see you on the far side.